Take her away, Ian.
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Fell over? What you fell over for?
Out for a little walk in the moonlight.
7:30. Where were we at 7:30?
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Turn to page 394.
You foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach!
I didn't mean to.
Mischief managed.
You and your bloody chicken.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to Retold, a Harry Potter podcast. This is the podcast where I retell you my favorite story of all time, Harry Potter. Every single week, I go through the books 2 chapters at a time, telling you what happens. We also have a few extra segments where we talk about our favorite lines, lore, behind-the-scenes things, and at the end of the episode, we have a spoiler section called the Restricted Section. Ooh.
But he never takes this journey alone.
You were waiting to say that, weren't you? No, I never take this journey alone. I always have with me some very special guests. And this week, making a return trip, we have Jonathan.
Hello, everyone.
You're like Patton. 'Cause Patton said, I will return. Wasn't that Patton?
Patton? General Patton?
Yeah. Like
when he storms to the sea?
I think it was like World War II where he says, I think he had to leave the Philippines. And not everything was, this is going to sound terrible, but like not everything was like honky-dory, you know? He was like, don't worry, guys, I will return. And he did eventually.
Wow.
I hope this is accurate. There was that one time, what was that episode? I said that there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And I said that, what's his name? The British guy said it. I said...
The British guy, yep.
You know what I'm talking about. You know him, but it wasn't that guy who said it. It was Roosevelt. But who's the British guy?
Oh, Winston Churchill?
Winston Churchill, yes. I said it was Winston.
The British guy.
The British
Yep,
guy.
That's absolutely right.
You don't get much more British than him. We will fight them in the beaches. But anyway, Jonathan, you've been on this several times. You've answered the follow-up questions, and so I don't have a particular like designated. I think this is your 4th or 5th time, something like that.
I think 4th.
4th, okay.
Yeah.
And listeners are going to hear from you again before the end of this season.
Ooh.
We just had a few unsubscribe, but
Oh no.
But what was I going to say? We're now going to get into our Quizzitch section. Ooh, everybody's favorite part. So this is the part of the episode, listeners, if you're new here, where I have a running competition with my guests. It's me versus the world, me representing myself, guests representing the world, to see who knows the Harry Potter books better. And each book is its own season, its own cup, its own championship. Season 1, I won. Season 2, the guests won. You were part of that. All right, yeah. Good job, world. And season 3, it's somewhat close. I've clawed my way back. I'm down by 2 currently. Okay. I'm down by 2.
That could all change in one episode.
It could all change, for better or worse.
Yeah.
We'll see. But we'll say our questions to each other, trivia questions based on this chapter, and then at the end we'll ask the audience a Quizzitch question of their own. Mm-hmm. See, I think about you, listeners. I think about you so much. Jonathan actually came up with the Quizzitch question this week. He's very considerate.
You should. I mean, if you read these 2 chapters, you know there's slim pickings from a Quizzitch perspective.
It was wonderful taking notes, though, because I was like, oh, this was like an hour and a half. That was it. That's all it took for me.
It's just a story, you know?
All right, so, Jonathan, would you like to ask me your question first? And remember, listeners, guests are up by 2.
Okay. I think this is a good and fair one.
Okay.
Barry. When Crookshanks freezes the Whomping Willow, it is as if it is turned to what material? This is a description given in the book.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that line.
As if it turned to...
Stone? That's not correct.
I mean, with technicality...
Is it a type of rock? Is it a sorcerer's stone? No, it's a philosopher's stone, Barry. But anyway, I said stone. That's incorrect. What's the answer?
It's marble.
Marble. Ah, a shame.
Yeah.
A shame. Do you have? Is your version like the American version?
No, it's actually the British version.
You know what? I wonder if mine says stone versus
marble. That's not like British terminology.
That's a British word if I've ever heard one.
Well, it's very close to the beginning
marbles.
of the.
That's a hook. Okay, let's see. It is marble.
It says it turns to marble.
Dang it. Okay. So I
Not
did not
saved
get
by
correct.
the British edition.
Nope. Come out of here. See you, buddy. I love you. Hit back. Okay. Your question, Jonathan. How long did Lupin say Harry spent at Hagrid's hut?
20 minutes.
You know, I knew as soon as you said you had 7 questions ready. I was like, that's definitely one of his questions. Okay. You got that right. Ding, ding. Good job.
Ding, ding.
You know, another thing I noticed was because I got in such a hole earlier in this season, as a host, people listen to this. They form opinions about me. I always try to be nice and amicable, but I have noticed that I've sounded like not so nice in these Quizzitch. But I'm trying to be joking, but even still, it comes across. I feel like when I'm editing is like, very gritchy. You know, not nice. But anyway, good job, Jonathan.
Thank you, Barry.
Yes. What's your next question?
Okay. Which to choose?
I know you have so many.
I know. Okay. In chapter 19, what causes Sirius to finally look away from Peter?
The mention of Professor Snape.
That is correct.
Okay. If I go down, I'm only going down 1 point. That makes me feel a lot better. I would hate to have it doubled again.
I could have picked a harder question, but I decided not to.
You know, that doesn't make me feel better.
Well, it's
I gave you the easy.
I gave you the easy. Well, I mean,
all right.
Actually, I think that is the one that my wife got last night. I asked her my questions. We had just read it.
Oh, the one that you just asked
that
me?
one. Yeah.
Okay, she's a very intelligent woman.
She's very intelligent.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I have 2 questions here. One is a 50-50, but I feel like it might be harder than the other. I'll do the 50-50 one. 50-50 shot. On which eye does Sirius Black get a bruise? His right eye or his left eye?
I believe it's his left.
I want to ask you a different question. That's correct. Good job.
Okay. I wasn't 100% confident.
Ding,
on
ding,
that,
ding. I should have been like, are you sure?
Are you sure?
There was that one time on the Best of Book 2 that you and Emily were unsure about your answer, and she decided on it, and it ended up winning you guys the championship.
Yeah.
And I was like,
No! So close!
Anyway, this would have been my other question for Funsies one. Whose wand does Sirius use to disarm?
Does Sirius use to disarm who? Okay. I mean, it's Ron's.
It's Ron's wand.
Yeah.
Yes. Ding, ding,
because...
That's the first one.
Yeah.
Person in there. All right, so listeners, guests have gone up by 1 more point. So now they're up 3 points. The world is leading. So let me remind them what their question was last week first real quick.
Yeah.
So audience, your question last week was, what did the students have to do in their Care of Magical Creatures final? And the answer to that question was they had to take care of flubberworms for the whole class period. Keep them alive for an hour. If you got the answer to that correct, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And if you didn't, better luck next time. Next time being right now. Jonathan, hit him with it.
Okay, so your question for this week is, audience, in which year did the Marauders, excluding Lupin, become Animagi?
That's your trivia question for this week, everybody. Your Quizzitch question, forgive me. This is all whimsical here. We need to keep it whimsy. So if you'd like to answer that, please write into theretoldpodcast@gmail.com or message me on Instagram at theretoldpodcast. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Our chapters for this week. Like we've said, much shorter than some of the previous ones, so we'll see how long this episode takes.
Well, it's all in one track, which a lot of the other chapters are like, here's a little snippet of something that happened, and then this happened, and it's like, here, we're just getting...
Yeah, it takes you somewhere else, usually.
Yeah.
But this time, it stays in the same place pretty much. So chapter 17, Cat, Rat, Dog. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in... I wrote down, shout out to the chapter art. I don't know what your chapter art looks like in your book.
I have no chapter art.
No chapter art?
It's just stars.
Okay. This is my chapter art. It's the Whomping Willow with Ron's legs sticking out.
Oh,
of it.
nice.
But anyway, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in shock from the death of Buckbeak. Wink, wink. Going down on over there. Harry wants to go back. You know, he makes a move to go back to help Hagrid because that's his first instinct. Got to go help his boy. Ron stops him, though, and says they need to keep moving. So, so the last line was of my notes was Ron says they need to keep moving. And then I wrote, speaking of moving, Scabbers is having a little dance party in Ron's pocket. And he really just wants to go for a little walk. And mean old Ron won't let him. But too bad. Scabbers breaks free. Now, being out too late with your rat on the loose might be cause for concern. Because how you going to catch the little guy?
Yeah.
You know? But don't worry, Ron. Crookshanks is here to help.
Yay!
Yay!
What do you need when you got to catch a rat?
A cat.
A cat.
Mm-hmm. And the cat shows up and starts chasing little scabbies. And turns out Ron wasn't too grateful for Crookshanks' interference.
No.
Anyway, Ron runs after... That's... I like that. Write that down. Anyway, Ron runs after Scabbers too, and Harry and Hermione run after him. And I wrote down, are they both holding the cloak? Because it says the cloak was trailing after them like a ribbon. So I picture like they both have a hand on it.
It's like a cape behind them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But anyway, Ron finally catches little Scabby.
Yeah, for all our talk about the cat being the one who catches the rat, somehow determined Ron does catch him, and Crookshanks does not.
Crookshanks might not be the most adept cat, for all the credit we give him. I'm about to sneeze. Hey, you.
Bless you.
Thank you. So Ron finally catches little Scabby. Harry and Hermione catch up, and they're about to go when Harry's favorite death omen appears. Yay! Yay! I really liked the wording here, though. I thought it was good writing. It conjured up the image in my head well. Before they could cover themselves again, before they could even catch their breaths, they heard the soft pounding of gigantic paws. And I could hear, like, on the lush grass, the little doggo's paws. The big dog.
Not so little.
Yeah. But Doggo has joined the fray, and he takes a look at Ron, grabs him by the arm, and yoinks him out of there. All right. Harry and Hermione try to rescue him, but out of nowhere, the Whomping Willow hits them both with an RKO. Watch out, watch out, watch out. I wrote down, you see, Jonathan, in the hustle and bustle, they didn't even realize that they had stumbled upon it. No,
oh my goodness!
And now the tree can say that it's hit all three of the members of the trio, because before it had just hit Harry and Ron, but it added Hermione to its hit list.
It's got its little trunky paws on Hermione too.
Its trunky paws. It gets graphic quick as my next note, because it talks about the blood from Harry's forehead or Hermione's shoulder, but the worst one is the cracking of Ron's leg being described as like a shotgun.
A gunshot.
Ooh, that one was visceral. Made my stomach all queasy. Hermione thinks they should go for help, but Harry, I like his reply. He goes, we don't need a teacher. If a dog could get through this, then we can too. Which is kind of funny to go a little bit ahead. It talked about how they needed Scabbers they needed Pettigrew to hit the knot on the tree. And I was like, so the willow must just have been so out for blood for Harry, you know, that it decided, forget this dog. Like he hates Ron too, but he sees that the dog is harming Ron, so he's like, that one's being taken care of. Let me go after the other one. Good job.
I mean, I also feel like, you know, maybe they didn't need Pettigrew, but it was just safer having him go.
Yeah.
You know, like, you could make it through. Maybe you get hit.
Mm-hmm. I figured that because I did have a thought to contradict the text when I was reading it, but then I was like, it's probably just for funsies. Like, because they can just use the spell. Later we learn that's how Snape gets in. He just, shabam. That's how what wizards say, shabam. So I figured they were like, you know, Pettigrew, you honestly don't get to do too much, so you can do this.
Your important job. We need you, Peter.
You're doing it, Peter. Anyway, that's a reference to a past episode, listeners. And also to Hook. Have you seen the Hook?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anyway, so Hermione thinks they should go back. Harry has a good reply. And then I wrote down Hermione's dance. Because it was odd to me that it said she was like hopping back and forth on each foot, just saying, help, 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 help.
Like, dancing.
What odd, like, ritual is this?
Well, yeah, it's also interesting that it says she whispered frantically. It's like, are you actually asking for help?
It gave me it gave me like click your heels 3 times. But in comes Crookshanks to the rescue. I wrote down Harry's response. You know, he been hanging out with that dog, that no good dog this whole time. He did not like that Crookshanks knew what to do. But they go in, they travel the passageway. Crookshanks is leading his little bottle brush tail, poofing along. I wrote, it must be difficult to run while crouching, because it said, I didn't know that they were running at first until it said that they were out of breath. And then I looked back, I was like, they were running while hung down the whole time. Difficult to do.
Why didn't they just make the passage taller?
That's a good point.
If this is going to be like...
It's already guarded.
Monthly, you know, you're going to have like a whole group of people going in and out of this, or...
It's already guarded, so it's not like it needs to be a difficult passageway to get through. But anyway, they find their quarry, and where has the passage led them to, Jonathan?
The Shrieking Shack.
The Shrieking Shack! That's right. And I wrote down, I wish it was in Hogwarts Legacy, because the which passageway is in Hogwarts Legacy, but this one, I mean, it's because Hogwarts Legacy takes place in the 1990s.
Before it was there.
Created.
Breaking canon to enjoy yourself.
You know, I mean, I really enjoyed, what's that game? Shadow of Mordor.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that broke all the canon.
Oh, it did.
Freaking Isildur is a ring wraith in that game.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're in not the Hog's Head. They're in the Shrieking Shack. I wrote down, I really enjoyed Harry's "Ghost didn't do that" line.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, the way I feel you're supposed to interpret that is him being sarcastic and like, "Ghost didn't do that." But I did think it was a funny interpretation for him to be like, wait a minute. A ghost couldn't do that. And like somewhat kind of slow-wittedly putting the pieces together.
You've got so many different like mystery aspects converging here. And one that's really inconsequential is like, what is the deal with the Shrieking Shack? And now they're finally inside, and it's like, this is the scary place that everyone avoids.
Could have been a poltergeist, though, Harry. All right, you don't need to immediately disclose.
It was Peeves.
It could have been Peeves. Somebody get Filch. They follow the Ron trail. I almost wrote Slug Trail because it said like it left a clean sheen on the floor of the dust.
He swept swept it clean.
And they nod to each other and they kick the door open. And the first thing they see is Crookshanks chilling. And it says in quotations, a magnificent 4-poster bed. And I liked it because I just pictured, like, they kick this door open expecting battle, and it's just a cat in a super nice bed, like, shut up. You know, just purring away.
You know the movie Cats and Dogs? That reminds me of, you know, like the cat that's the evil one.
Yeah,
it's
the white poofy one.
It's like you get there and it's just like Well, hello.
That is Crookshanks. It's canon now. But Ron's on the floor, so they rush over to him. And we learn that it's a trap set by Sirius Black. That's no dog. It's a dark wizard. Sirius mentions Harry's dad, and Harry is ready to fight as soon as he does that. But his friends stop him. And I wrote down, I love Ron here. You know, because Ron's the one that says, like, hey, you'll have to kill me and Hermione too, all right? And I just had a funny image of, like, Hermione going, speak for yourself. But, you know, she doesn't argue, so I guess
she's on it.
She's on board. But I love that Ron standing up for Harry there, even trying to stand up on his bad leg.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sirius says they can't stop him because he's about to do a murder. And for a second, Jonathan, I forgot I was reading Harry Potter because I thought I was watching a WWE pay-per-view event. All right, WrestleMania time up in here. All right, because we get ourselves a good old-fashioned slobber knocker. All right, that is a good word to use for this because Harry jumps at him. He's like, I'm ready to go. He starts fighting. Then Sirius grabs his throat, is going to choke him out. And then it said, out of nowhere, Hermione's foot comes in, punches Sirius in the head. Even Ron gets in on the action with his broken leg. He falls on Sirius's wand arm. And it's pretty sick.
So before we go all the way through this section, so before I reread this many times to be prepared, well, I read through it once and then it's okay. I've always had beef with these two chapters.
Really?
Yes. Well, so when I first read it, it was brilliant. It was like, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. But then afterwards, I'm like, why don't you just come right out and say it?
Yes,
but
we're going to get to
I
that.
will say, okay,
yeah.
we can talk through that, but I will say I've become much more sympathetic and appreciative of the way this is written in recent today. So,
ooh, I can't. I'm looking forward to hearing more as we get to those particular points. Because I had the same thought, so we'll get to it.
Yeah.
So it ends up with Harry getting his wand back, and I did like the line where it said, you know, he tells them to get out of the way, and they didn't need to be told twice. It's like, yo, Harry's ready to rock. And he stares down Sirius, and Sirius from the floor asks if Harry's going to kill him, and Harry says, you killed my parents. And I wrote down, Sirius gives the most unhelpful defense. You know, so that's part of it. I guess we could sort of say it there then, because he's like, he leads with, I don't deny it.
It's like, well, sounds like a good opportunity to deny it.
Like, we are, especially with what happens with Lupin later, I feel like for the most part, Lupin does a better job than Sirius, somewhat.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll get to that too.
Yeah.
With this part in particular, we understand that Sirius is struggling with his guilt and he blames himself for it. But it's also you're dealing with children, and they're very violent at the moment. I think you need to like cut the nuance and give the specifics.
Yeah,
you know. Before Harry can do something though, Crookshanks gets in his way, hops on his chest, and Harry thinks of murdering the cat too. And that's a powerful little paragraph where Harry's just contemplating. It's, you know, you see these moments of like the Voldemort side welling up in him, thinking about it. And he just thinks like, if the cat wants to get in the way, that's not his problem. The text says something like that.
And Hermione like whimpers.
Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, not my kitty. Lupin shows up. He observes the situation. I do like it that it mentions that he looks from one like his eyes look at each person in the room, like takes in the situation. Then he gives an old Expelliarmus.
Something that I think is important to this, you've got this whole Harry is on the brink of murder. Mm-hmm. And if we're permitted to speak openly about the chapter after these, as far as spoiler is concerned, he's on the brink of murdering the wrong person. Mm-hmm. His father's best friend, his godfather. And something that I really liked as a Hermione moment is, I don't know, like you're in this situation and it's like, you don't know what's going on here. Mm-hmm. She just hears footsteps and is desperate to be like, we're here, like as soon as she can. And I have to believe that a lot of that is she doesn't want Harry to go through with this. Like, she doesn't think, I mean, she thinks Sirius is guilty right now too, but it's like, that's not what Harry should do. Like, doing this in anger and wrath is not the right thing. And I feel like Hermione sees this opportunity to, like, interrupt that. And says, like, whoever it is, come.
We need an adult to
interrupt this right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to call out. And I love that moment too, because just like you said, she doesn't want Harry to be the one to have to put himself through this. And also it's also just incredibly wise. You know, this is a child. We need another adult in the room with this crazy murderer.
Yeah.
The other thought I had was, does Harry know any spells that could kill Sirius? You know, is he just going to over and over, Expelliarmus, Expelliarmus, Expelliarmus?
I'm sure he's, you know.
Aguamenti, you going to drown. I don't know.
That's true.
So, I'm just saying.
Have we been made aware of the unforgivable curses?
Not yet. That's the next book.
Huh?
So it hasn't even been said. We know that curses are capable of such things. It's talking about a spell like Voldemort cast a curse, and that killed Harry's parents, but we don't know what that curse is yet.
Interesting.
But yeah. So Lupin shows up, gives an old Expelliarmus, and this is not to stop again, but like this comes up later. I just think it's odd how Expelliarmus works. What I picture in my head, because every time it happens in these books, it says the wand soars high in the air and the person catches it. And so what I picture is, like, if you and I are standing on opposite ends of the room, I cast it at you, and your wand does, like, it doesn't shoot to me, but it does, like, this slow arc, and it gets to me. And I just think, well, that's not nearly helpful enough, because I feel the person could just run at you in that time. You know, it's like the dodgeball trick, where you throw one dodgeball in the air, and your other teammates throw it at the person who's about to catch it, you know? So that's kind of funny to me.
I mean, if you count the movies, it just also blasts them, because everything blasts people.
Well, maybe in the next chapter there's some it does do something similar.
Yeah. So maybe there's like more than just the wand leaving the hand. There's a disarming effect that is not going to equip a person to respond quickly.
Yeah, like in Pokemon when it said your Pokemon flinched. You know, whenever you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Yeah.
Of course.
Got to catch them all, Jonathan. So we get an odd exchange between Lupin and Sirius. We don't quite know like what's being said, the realization that Lupin has, because he goes, "Unless you guys switched and didn't tell me." And Sirius
but it is
goes,
a pretty well written little Lupin moment.
Yeah, I think so.
That's good.
To Harry's horror, they bro hug. All right. Like, no, not the bro hug. And I wrote down Hermione's shout because I found this like just so random. So after the hug, I don't feel like this is a shouting moment, but Hermione just shouts in all caps, "I don't believe it." It's very Jerry Springer after that hug, like, no. That was her reaction. I thought it was a little over the top, Hermione. Not because I also just picture a quiet room.
Yeah,
you know, it's quiet for a few seconds, even after the hug, and then she just anyway. They bro hug, Hermione shout, and then there's a little bit of back and forth with Lupin. I like his 1 for 3 line, you know, where Hermione says, "You've been helping him sneak into the castle.
You want Harry dead.
You want Harry dead, and you're a werewolf." And
like
he's so. I like him a lot in these 2 chapters of his demeanor. I've come to like him a lot more reading this book, of him just going like very cool-headedly, 1 for 3, not up to your usual scratch, Hermione. All right, like usually a bit better than that. And he explains, "Don't want Harry dead. Haven't been helping Sirius, but I am a werewolf." Hermione admits that she's known for a while since Professor Snape set the essay. Lupin's like, "Yep, that checks out. That's why he did that." So anyway, Hermione says that she should have told on him. Lupin says, "Joke's on you. The staff already knows." We learn that Dumbledore helped Lupin become a teacher, even though some people didn't think it would be a good idea. Harry's like, "Yeah, not a good idea." Lupin keeps trying to explain things, but Harry's freaking out, and he's like, "All right, chill. What if I give you your wands back? Okay, calm down." It's like my dog with the toy, like, calm down, I'm going to be the thing. Or iPad kids. They're basically iPad kids with their wands. Calm down. Then he tells them that he's been wanting them, or he's been watching them from the map. And he's also Mooney. Okay, he's like, that's me, by the way. I don't know. You saw my little Boggart was a moon too, so that's me.
Yeah.
If y'all didn't know that, if y'all didn't catch on, dear readers. And he saw them going down to Hagrid's, and he spent how long at Hagrid's, Jonathan?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. But Jonathan, when they left, there was an extra person there.
What?
And when Sirius dragged off Ron, guess what? He really dragged off 2 people.
No, it was just one.
It was 2. It was Peter Pettigrew.
No.
And that's the end of the chapter. Yay! Kind of. So, I'm wondering where to stick in like the conversation about his like not answering fully.
Yeah, I feel like that's more towards the end.
Maybe next chapter then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, because both of the chapters
yeah,
have
I think
the
I
same
do make
vibe.
a note about it. But anyway, so favorite lines. So, Jonathan, I think we can hop back and forth with our favorite lines.
Okay.
I think I have potentially 3. Sometimes I realize I've said them throughout the chapter, so I read them now. But you first, my friend.
Okay. So I like this interaction. So we've got Black saying, I don't deny it. Harry's just said, I killed your parents. And what I like, he's like, you need to know the whole story. It's like, you've got to listen to me, Black said. And there was a note of urgency in his voice now. You'll regret it if you don't. You don't understand. And I like that line because it's kind of a transition point where I feel like at the beginning he is in kind of like bloodlust mode. Like he sees the person who is the reason why he's been tortured for 12 years, who killed his best friend. And this is the moment where he's like, oh, I actually need to play this differently. Yeah.
He's been one-track minded.
Yeah.
He's like,
and it's like,
hold up.
Just the note of urgency in his voice now. He's like, no, actually don't do this. So
he's actually being clear for once too.
Yeah.
It's like, hold up, there's more of this than meets the eye. So I do enjoy that as well. And it's like to the reader, it signifies, hey, maybe there is more to Sirius. Because I think on a first read, up until this point, he is bad guy, and we have no reason to believe otherwise. Because we don't have the benefit of hindsight to let us know these are the details. What am I? So I realized I said one of them already, but and I did also kind of say this one as well, but I didn't include the other half. On a magnificent 4-poster bed with dusty hangings lay Crookshanks, purring loudly at the side of them. On the floor beside him, clutching his leg, which stuck out at a strange angle, was Ron. And I just found it funny, the juxtaposition of the cat is on the nice bed, chilling, and then a human being, Ron, with broken legs, moaning on the floor.
That is funny.
So I enjoyed that. What's another one you got?
So Crookshanks hops onto Black's chest to protect him, and you mentioned some of this before. So what if he wanted to kill the cat too? If it was in league with Black, if it was prepared to die trying to protect Black, that wasn't Harry's business. If Black wanted to save it, that only proved he cared more for Crookshanks than Harry's parents.
I like that last part.
And it's that last
so
part
much,
that is what I wanted to point out, because it's like, or does it mean something else?
I like that part, but I also like, if it is true, that is a hard line. That would be incredibly rage-inducing for Harry.
Yeah.
That you were willing to risk your life for a cat and not my parents.
Yeah.
But also, yes, it's like...
But it's also like a breadcrumb. There's a couple different breadcrumbs where it's like, so far Sirius is just evil guy out to kill Harry. But it's like, oh, this... I don't know, is Crookshanks evil? Like, what is going on here? And if he cares about this cat, then maybe he's not a one-sided, heartless, evil person.
Mm-hmm. My other favorite line was... So this is when Harry breaks loose from Hermione and Ron to attack Black. He says he had forgotten about magic. He had forgotten that he was short and skinny and 13, whereas Black was a tall, full-grown man. All Harry knew that he wanted to hurt Black as badly as he could, and that he didn't care how much he got hurt in return. And the following part is funny too. Of perhaps it was the shock of Harry doing something so stupid, but Black didn't raise the wands in time. But I really enjoyed that, especially just the beginning part of he forgot all about himself, his own repertoire and abilities and things he has going on for himself, and he just sees red. He's just a creature of emotion in this moment, and I thought it was a well-written, cool line.
Yeah.
And that's all my favorite lines for this chapter. Do you have any more?
I don't know if it's much as of a favorite line, but just the next moment when he had walked to Black's side, seized his hand, pulled him to his feet so that Crookshanks fell to the floor, and embraced Black like a brother. Mm-hmm. And just like, at this point in the chapter, we think this is Lupin's evil, but it is just a cool reunion. Mm-hmm. I like that he embraces him like a brother. It's like, no, we've believed these things about each other for however long, and it's like, no, there's forgiveness and redemption and restoration.
There's an apology in there, and wounds can be healed.
Yeah.
I like that too.
And the last thing that I'd like to mention as far as favorite lines is, so Hermione's just said that Lupin's a werewolf, and Ron's trying to get up, and he falls down, and Lupin comes towards him, and he looking concerned, but Ron gasped, "Get away from me, werewolf." Lupin stopped dead. Then, with an obvious effort, he turned to Hermione and said, "How long have you known?" And
I like that obvious effort part.
Yes.
It seems to me he is in that moment, at least what the text is suggesting, is that he wants to address that, but he's had this conversation so many times. He's like, what's the point? And there's the urge to defend self, but also it's more important to explain what's going on at the moment. So he just leaves that there.
Yeah, and I just think about how hard that would be. As someone who he's a werewolf and he's been, turned down from so many things because of this thing that happened to him. And, this whole year, he's had a good relationship with these students. Mm-hmm. They've thought of him as a friend and mentor. And it's like the fact that now, for one, Hermione is much more apt to think that he is on Black's side because he's a werewolf. And she thinks that, this is the secret that she needed to share so that he would be prevented from continuing to help Black. Mm-hmm. And then that Ron just, that you can see that hurts him.
Yeah.
That it's I thought we were... I don't know, it's a low blow. Mm-hmm. And it's something that really would be very sensitive to Lupin. Mm-hmm. And I like the way that that's written, where it's he stopped dead. That, he's reaching out to help Ron, and that's what he receives. And just that would be really difficult. And how he's okay, how long have you known? And he's got to put that aside.
It's funny, the image that when you said really that's the relationship between us at this moment, that made me think of when the disciple Philip says to Jesus, how do we see the Father? How do we know the Father? And Jesus says to him, "Really, Philip? After all this time, you still don't know me?" That's what I pictured when he said that. Very good. I enjoyed those lines. Thank you for pointing those out. We're going to be moving on now to our golden snitches. Ooh. Actually, no, that's not true. Transfigurations.
Oh, goodness.
Transfigurations. Differences. I almost made a transfiguration just then. All right.
We're going to switch this up.
Far be it from me to do. I do not have such power. I do. It's my podcast. But transfigurations, which are differences that movies made from the books. There are two mistakes I make in almost every episode. One is that I do that one where I say difference is that the books, it's movies. And the other one is your fandom ID. What's your favorite house? I mean, no, what house are you in? Like, why do I do that? Anyway, differences, listeners. First, we don't see Ron's leg snap in the movie. In fact, the dog doesn't even grab him by his arm in the movie to drag him off. The dog grabs him by his leg, and that's why his leg is wounded. That's how they're able to still keep his leg wounded in the scene. Then we also get a lot more fun with the Willow in the movie. You know, they're all, you know, it's like a somewhat comical scene. Rather than this, like, kind of terrifying one.
I kind of like the Crookshanks better than getting thrown in.
I like the Crookshanks better as the resolution, but I do enjoy the events leading up to it.
So if I'm remembering correctly, I didn't rewatch the movie, but they get like launched into the tunnel.
Yes, like they're holding on to the limbs as they're being flown around like a circus ride or something, and Harry lets go Hermione grabs Harry's chest, and it's funny because I always watch that scene. And they comically time it because it's like, no way that would have timed out right because she's flying by, grabs his chest, and then it like pans to just his face looking down at the chest and then being yoinked. But she with all the power of a 13-year-old girl, carries Harry with one hand and then perfectly traps him into the hole. And then she lets go of the limb.
Okay.
Right after.
Wow.
But I enjoy the funness of it.
Yeah.
But that's another change. And like you said, there's no Crookshanks. All throughout this time period. You know, he appears in a few other instances throughout the movie, but he does not have this increased role. More diminished in the movie. I also wrote Ron is a bit less brave in the movie. So they do give, you know, there's that moment where Ron says, you'll have to kill both of us. They give Hermione that line,
of course.
Actually, and Hermione stands in front of Harry.
As is customary for these movies.
Yes.
Make Ron the bumbling idiot and give all the good lines to Hermione.
Yeah. And there's another Harry line they give to Hermione too, but I'll get there. The other one is that Sirius does not take Ron's wand. At least we don't see him holding a wand at all. He doesn't use a wand at all in this scene until the next chapter.
Yeah.
Then I wrote down Lupin only disarms Harry, but why did I write only disarms Harry? Because I thought he disarmed. Yes.
In the book he does.
Yeah, he disarms all three of them.
He gets all three of their wands. But in the movie he just takes Harry's.
Well, it's not even Harry's wand because remember Harry grabs actually no, it is Harry's wand at first, and then in the next chapter Harry grabs Hermione's wand, but that's a transfiguration for next chapter.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yep. And then the line that Hermione takes from Harry is when Harry says to Lupin, I trusted you. In the movie, that's Hermione's line. Trusted you, and all this time, you've been his friend. And then the last one is that I wrote down who sees Peter's name. And so this is more so relating to previous chapters, but Harry never sees Peter Pettigrew's name in the book.
Yeah.
Never sees it.
That's true.
He only ever... never. But in the movie, he does when he's walking through the castle at night. And then in this instance, it comes up again. But in the book, not in the movie. And Lupin never even says it in the movie. He doesn't include the part of, I was looking at the map and saw you here. He's just there. He just shows up. There's no explanation for how he knew that they would be there. And those are all your transfigurations, dear listeners. Moving on now to our Golden Snitches section, which are lore grabs, behind-the-scenes things, tids and bits.
Little tids and bits.
So, first one to shout out, it's a completion, as it were, because we have had, as a Golden Snitch, the Shrieking Shack before. But we get the rest of the lore about the Shrieking Shack now, that it was... I feel like I said it like Shaq as in Shaquille O'Neal, the Shrieking Shack, and I'm just picturing Shaquille O'Neal.
Well,
shouting.
wait, is this not for the next chapter?
You know what? You'd be right, my friend. our first golden snitch.
Yeah.
Our first golden snitch is Nox. Okay, this is our first use of the spell Nox. Nox is used for the very first time here when Harry and Hermione are about to go into the Shrieking Shack. They extinguish their spells, which, if you look up the Harry Potter wiki, it is not called Nox. It says the Wand Extinguishing Charm. And it's funny. So it says Wand Extinguishing Charm and then in parentheses Nox. And I feel like that should be flipped. Like its name is Nox and it does a wand extinguishing. So that seems odd. Anyway.
Well, but is that... I don't know. This is something that, as I've been engaging in more of this fandom since being on this podcast, it's been interesting because I feel like in the books, people refer to spells by what their function is, not the incantation itself. But I feel like the members of the fandom refer to them as the incantation. So they would be like, oh, he Lumosed. Or that's a bad example.
Yeah, no.
Or like, oh, he got Avada Kedavra. It's
Yeah.
like, that's not... It's called the Killing Curse.
That's a good point because they also don't call it Accio. They say it's the summoning charm.
Yes.
Or in the previous chapter, they were learning cheering charms. But They didn't actually say the name. That's a good point.
And I feel like that I don't know, from what I've seen in like various
Yeah, the fandom does tend
fanfics
to
or
just
something
use
where it's like, oh, the way that they talk about the spells is different. It's based on it being Lumos.
That's a good distinct. I've never caught that before. Very good. Okay. So, hey, maybe this was right then. Although this is the fandom website, so you would think that they would get it wrong and flip it. Anyway, the Wand Extinguishing Charm, parentheses Nox, was a charm that caused the light at the end of the caster's wand to be extinguished, thus acting as the counter charm to the wand lighting charm, parentheses Lumos. And its hand movement, listeners can't see this, but it looks like a little wave or a little, like part of a hat. Can you see that from where you're sitting?
A little bit.
Thing right here?
Ah, yes.
It was created by, and I've mentioned this lady before, but Lavina Monk Stanley in 1772. Okay.
Was this created sometime different than Lumos? Because what does that mean? Like someone invented Lumos and was like, well, oh darn, my wand's gonna be like this until 776 or what?
That's the independence. The wand extinguishing charm was invented by the same witch who invented the wand lighting charm.
Okay.
Lavina Monk Stanley. She invented the wand lighting charm in the 18th century and invented the wand extinguishing charm around that time too. So
hopefully.
She probably just sat there for a while.
Yeah, there was like, okay.
How do I get rid of this? Somebody get me a Latin book.
Because that's also interesting because I feel like I've never pictured this as like a light switch kind of thing where it's like Lumos and then it's on. I would feel like that would be
once you stop having
like
magic
continually,
flow to it.
like so
you could just drop the wand. And it's okay.
Yeah,
but I think there is a moment in book 5. Harry drops his wand, and he says, like it's not close to him, but he's looking for. He's in pitch black dark, and he goes, "Please let this work, Lumos." And the wand lights up, and he's able to find it that way. I don't know how that connects. But anyway, etymology. In Latin, Nox means night. 10 guesses. Could you figure that out?
Is it because night is when it's dark?
Correct. No, actually, it starts with an N in night, Nox. Not, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nox is also the name of the Roman goddess of night, derived from Nyx, the Greek goddess of darkness and night. They didn't really stretch too many muscles figuring that out. They're naming those people. In most of the Harry Potter video games, the wand lighting charm is extinguished by itself after some time, not requiring this spell. In Hogwarts Legacy, the player is able to distinguish the light at any time without using the spell. Only on Android phone. I don't know what this means. On Lollipop or better. I don't know what that means.
I think that's an operating system.
Okay. It uses if a user types Nox in the search bar on the Google app, the torch will turn off, respectively. Lumos turns. So hold up. I know that if you say like, "Hey Google," and you say Lumos, or if you tell Siri. But I wonder if I just type in on my Google search bar Lumos. So hold up my phone.
Does the torch turn on?
Well, that didn't work at all.
You know, I feel like torch is a better word than flashlight.
Yeah, because it's like holding it up like that. It's at the end of a stick.
Well, yeah, in flash, it's like that's a flash, not a consistent beam.
I'm still a little upset that my phone didn't do the thing.
Yeah, that's pretty disappointing. Or do you have Lollipop or better?
I don't know.
What happens if you turn your light on and then type in Knox?
I'll do that. Okay, lights on.
Oh, guys. What do you think's going to happen, listeners?
Nothing. Maybe up here. Let's try it up here. Nope.
Nothing.
Well, that's just way to get my hopes up. Anyway, moving on from that golden snitch. I was going to do Animagi in this one because it's where the word is used for the first time, but I think I'll save it for the next one because there's a lot more mentioned about it.
Yeah.
So that's really all we got for this chapter. Jonathan, do you need a break before we move on to the next chapter?
Never.
And this is also a short chapter, too. This is the shortest chapter in the whole friggin' book. But
probably series, but
book
I can't verify that.
Ones. Yeah. Chapter 18, Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs. My wife can't roll her R's.
Neither can I. I am very white.
Is that a white people problem?
I don't know.
Can you whistle?
Yes, I can whistle with the best of them.
I would like to say I toot my own horn or
not
my
to
own whistle.
Not to be immodest, but
you're quite the whistler.
I am quite proficient at whistling.
Can you wiggle your ears?
No.
Loser. Anyway.
If you sign up for Patreon, you can get a video of Barry wiggling his ears.
I'm not the wiggle ear tier. After the Peter reveal, Harry's like, what the heck y'all talking about? Nobody believes them. Sirius says, act first, explain later. And he jumps on Ron's broken leg. Says all his leg crashing on.
Not scoring brownie points.
No, not making me think that you're any more innocent. And he tries to get little scabbies out of Ron's hands, but Lupin says, hey, it's really important we explain all this to the reader. I mean, to these 3 13-year-olds. And Sirius goes, okay, fine. I do like that he tells him, I thought it was somewhat meta, that he tells Lupin to hurry up, and this is the shortest chapter, But anyway, so Lupin looks at him, and he's like, so yeah, the rat's a dude. Harry and Ron think, he's crazy.
That's scary.
I really enjoy that moment where Harry and Ron look at each other and it says something like, and Harry knew that they were both thinking the same thing, that they were insane. They were off their rockers. I like that camaraderie moment between them two. They ask Lupin some clarifying questions. At one point Hermione brings up the Animagi registry. Okay. Mm-hmm. That was almost another question. Would you have known how many were on the registry?
Oh, is it 7 in the last century?
It's 7, yeah. So that was the one that, before we were recording, I said, I'm going to leave this one because I think Jonathan's going to ask me this one. That's what I thought you were going to ask. But she asked about the Animagi registry because Lupin says, actually, no. They had already stated in the previous chapter, and I didn't mention it, but that Peter Pettigrew is an Animagus and that he can turn into a rat. And that's how last chapter ended. I kind of just brushed past that. But she goes, can't be. He's not registered, all right? And there's only 7 people, and he ain't one of them. Lupin says, yeah, well, there's actually 3 secret Animagi, all right, that you know nothing about it. Not the 3 Magi that showed up to Jesus, but Animagi, very different. That is an AI fan art.
We 3 animals.
Just Peter.
Yeah.
Sirius and James at the nativity. Anyway, Lupin says this all began when I was a kid, and that's when we get the harp music and the little flashback clouds appear.
Let me start at the beginning.
I know, it's kind of like, I don't know, I am a person who I'm a stickler about telling a story, you know, especially in conversation. I try to like gauge the person and be like, these are unnecessary details, shouldn't include this. And it bothers me so much when I know that I'm not doing that. So, like when we had Bailey's birthday party the other night, there was one moment that I told a story to the whole room about Bailey's book, and I could just see in half the room's eyes that everybody was kind of just like,
Why does this matter?
yeah. And I was like, why am I letting this happen? I can either tell this story better, or I should just not be saying it. But that's what I was thinking, and I kind of like rushed to the end after, like when I got halfway through.
You're
it,
like,
'cause I thought,
never mind, I've got to get it.
I was literally telling it. I could just see in people's faces, what are you doing? I was like, all right, I got to get. But anyway, that's kind of what all that to say. That's kind of, I had the same thought here with Lupin. Like, not all these details were that important.
Hey, he wants to tell a good story.
That's true. I get that. I get that. And the reader needs to know. The reader needs all this because it is not in the movie.
Yeah.
So we learned that Lupin was bit by a werewolf as a kid, and that the whole Shrieking Shack, Whomping Willow thing is because of him. So all the screams and the shouts were actually him, because he says that transforming into a werewolf is a very painful business, and that with nobody else to attack as a werewolf, he started attacking himself. And the Shrieking Shack was placed over the extended entrance to... Sorry, the Whomping Willow was placed over the extended entrance to the Shrieking Shack so that nobody could get in there.
What kind of doors and walls do they have built onto this thing?
They did say that, like, I think it's a spell that has them all locked.
Okay.
Because in a previous chapter, Ron even mentions, Fred and George have tried to break in, but none of the doors would open. They couldn't get in. It was all him all along. I really enjoyed this Dumbledore rumor line. So it said that people started saying that there were, like, it was haunted, or that there were aggressive spirits in there, and Lupin goes, and Dumbledore encouraged these rumors.
Yeah.
And I just pictured, like, cheeky Dumbledore in Hogsmeade, like, you know what I heard? I think there's some bad ghosts in there. Definitely shouldn't go
near there.
Lupin says, that, like I said before, painful transformations. But despite that, it was actually a pretty cool time. And why is that? Because he had 3 really good friends. You know, the 3 best friends that anybody could ever have. That's a reference, listeners. Except one. Peter Pettigrew. Just a betrayer. All right. Not that big of a deal.
One of the 3, how many great friends can you have? How many you're asking for?
Even Jesus had a betrayer. All right. If you think one of your friends isn't going to betray you, are you better than Jesus?
Well, Jesus had one at 12.
And I only have 3 friends. Oh no, that was they hit the limits too. Somebody's got to go. I'm the betrayer for friends. Anyway, we learned that all of the friends, Peter, James, and Sirius, became animagi, and that they would all sneak out together. And animagi, dear listeners, as something that Barry will explain in the Golden Snitch section, but just for your information purposes here now, in case you don't already know, which you probably do, but in case you don't, it is that these are wizards who could turn into animals at will. Not just any animal, one animal.
Professor McGonagall,
Yes,
as seen
McGonagall.
in the first chapter of the series.
That's right. Good call. I thought you were about to say the first chapter of this book, because she does turn, like that happens in this book during the first day of school.
Yeah.
And I was about to be like,
That's not the first
definitely
chapter.
not the first chapter, John. But
It's the first chapter of this series.
you were more right than I.
It's like the first piece of magic we see. Second. Illuminator.
Well, I mean, her transforming back, but we see her as a cat first.
Well, yeah, but that's not... I don't know. That's not really magic yet that you see.
I don't know. It's a person in cat form.
You know.
Anyway, so we learned they were animagi. They would all sneak out together, have some fun. And this moment was funny to me, where Harry wants to ask what animal did his dad turn into, because he can't decipher what prongs means.
Whatever could that be?
And right as he's about to say it, Hermione cuts him off. She goes, "That was incredibly dangerous of you guys." And it's like, girl, give Harry his... I could just picture Harry like, not right now. This is very important. I don't have my family. Lupin says, "Yep, I'm actually full of self-loathing about all of it, really. Now that you bring that up, really don't like me." Says he's felt awful about betraying Daddy Dumbledore and not, breaking his trust. I love that when Lupin mentions Snape, as we said earlier, that's when Sirius breaks his attention, because earlier there's that funny moment where he sits next to Ron on the bed and Ron kind of like scoots away from him and Sirius just has his head in his hands. And it was just at this moment where like that old high school grudge just creeps up and Sirius, what does he want? Like,
yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Something that this previous thing reminded me of about like Lupin's like, well, I'm still hate myself or whatever. It reminded me of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where Mr. Tumnus is like, I'm a bad fawn. He's like, it's not what I have done. It's like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it now. Oh, yes.
That's funny. And I feel like, I don't know, Tumnus is kind of a good... I feel like it's a good connection to Lupin. Like, if I'm going to say anybody in Narnia is Lupin, it might be Tumnus.
It might be.
I haven't read Narnia in a while. Maybe when we finish Harry Potter, either Narnia or Lord of the Rings seems to be the two leading candidates.
So wait, it's not actually the first time that he mentions Snape, which is interesting for this serious reaction
about
thing.
the Wolfsbane potion.
Yeah, he says the potion Professor Snape has been making for me. It's interesting that we see no reaction.
Yeah,
Also,
I think Sirius is listening.
Yeah.
And he's just like waiting for... He's kind of just like... Yeah, he's waiting for Lupin to finish talking. And he's like, yeah, come on. And then when he hears that...
Snape's been right
Snape,
about me.
Yeah, has a
all
problem.
along. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I was just like, interesting.
No, good call out. You think there might have been like a little twitch from Sirius? Later to Harry didn't see it. So anyway, we learn about the prank that Sirius pulled all those years ago, in which, and the prank was that because Snape was always like snooping around trying to figure out what's going on with Lupin, Sirius says to him, "You know what you could do? You could follow. Like, you could go into that wall.
Yeah, just get a long stick.
Give it a boop, and get on in there, and you'll see our good old Moony." And so Snape does such a thing, and James rescues him before he's able to confront the fully grown werewolf. However, he does see him. He does see him over the little hill. And so
that's got to be a scary situation right there.
And Dumbledore makes him swear to never tell. Restricted section. So I had two notes on that. One is, I like the "he's here" line. Lupin goes, "He's here." And then he goes, "At Hogwarts." But it's funny because he's actually there in the room.
Well, has that happened yet?
It's about to.
He's right outside.
Because he's actually in the room with them. I didn't mention it in my notes, and I remember when I was writing, I was like, I should have included that. But there was that moment earlier in the chapter where the door opens.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if that had happened yet.
Yeah, that had happened. So, he's here, but he actually is.
Yeah, that is a funny moment where Ron's like, this place is haunted.
I know, sure not important at all. And it makes me think, like, I can just picture Snape in a corner of the room when Lupin says he's here going like, does he know?
Like,
he knows!
He's teaching as well.
And then the other note I had on it was that I like Snape's dramatic entrance.
Yeah.
So, it's what we were building to, but at the end, where am I? I wanted to read it here. "So that's why Snape doesn't like you," said Harry slowly, "because he thought you were in on the joke." "That's right," sneered a cold voice from the wall behind Lupin. Severus Snape was pulling off full name here, was pulling off the invisibility cloak, his wand pointing directly at Lupin. Oh, my guy wanted to make an entrance.
Aura for me. I will say, I am very impressed that Snape managed to not pop out at jealous, I think, of James's talent on the Quidditch pitch. With how visceral he gets about, James, I'm surprised he kept his cool to wait for the better moment.
I think rather than keeping cool, that made him boil harder. You know, like he was like getting more angry when that line appeared. Because
I just meant like I'm surprised he didn't burst out at that moment and be like, "No,
that's not what happened." Well, that's the end of the chapter. Yay! All right, moving on now, Jonathan, to our favorite lines.
Yeah.
If we have any that I haven't said already. So let me see, because I definitely have said some. So the first one, all right then, Black said without taking his eyes off the rat. Tell them whatever you like, but make it quick, Remus. I want to commit the murder I was imprisoned for. That's a cool line. I really like that line a lot of, like...
That's what Crookshanks said earlier.
That's what Crookshanks said. I liked it a lot because my friend Jonathan made a joke about it. I just made a note of it. But no, I really enjoy that. It's very... I think it shows that this man is an aggressive man. You know, he's not a lot of characters you see when it turns out that they're innocent. They're completely innocent. You know, they're completely harmless. But no, he is still a dangerous person.
Yeah, and you can see that as well in his response to them talking about the Snape prank, where he's like, no, he deserved it. Served him right.
Served him right.
It's like, well, okay then.
So that's one of my favorite lines. What about you?
It's not really a line as much as it is a section. I love when they're first telling them that it was actually Peter, that he's alive, then Hermione spoke in a trembling, would-be calm sort of voice, as though trying to will Professor Lupin to talk sensibly. And then we have this whole interaction where she says, but Professor Lupin's Scabbers can't be Pettigrew. It just can't be. You know it can't. He says, why can't it be true? Lupin said calmly, as though they were in class, and Hermione had simply spotted a problem in an experiment with Grindylows. Yeah. And this whole, section there where he's, explaining, and it's it is like a classroom, and I feel like that would be... it's a really fun kind of reprieve a little bit, and it just makes sense. How quickly Hermione, the star student, and Lupin, a professor, would end up interacting this way. And I will mention at the end of this, when she mentions all she knows about the animagi and all that, it was Harry barely had time to marvel inwardly at the effort Hermione put into her homework when Lupin started to laugh. It's right again. So I love that interaction. Yeah, more and more Lupin is just such a wonderful character in these chapters. I'll save that thought for later. But my other favorite line, and this is the only other one I have of this chapter, when Hermione says how dangerous it is what they were doing. She goes, "What if you'd given the others a slip and bitten somebody?" He says, "A thought that still haunts me," said Lupin heavily, "and there were near misses, many of them. We laughed about them afterwards. We were young, thoughtless, carried away with our own cleverness." Oh, I love that. I think if I could point out one of my flaws, just one, it's that I just spat on myself. He's too brilliant. No, it's that I relate so much to when Dumbledore says stuff about his own cleverness, and to me that is the height of entertainment is cleverness. And so I definitely I think I'm more clever than I am. I'm absolutely sure of it. And it's upsetting because, it's never... It would take a pretty clever person to figure that out. It takes a really humble person to admit that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I had a friend who, she is going to this country in Africa for 9 months on a medical missionary journey. 9 whole freaking months. And
It is very much a impoverished nation and community that she's going to help it. She's given her time to do it, and she's paying money to go, you know. And I was talking with her brother about this, and I said, wow, what, like it used to bother me that, like, there could be people in this world better than me, you know, and I would think I want to be better than them. But then I go, and I said, but nowadays I sort of think, thank God that there's people better than me. Otherwise, not much would get done as far as generosity goes. And he and I laughed about that. And then I went, but how good is it of me to admit that she's better than me, thus making me the better person? Anyway, but long story short, I enjoyed that line of him just saying, we were carried away with our own cleverness.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Do you have any other favorite lines from this chapter?
I think I would also like to add the Lupin's battling with himself over telling Dumbledore that Sirius is an animagus, and he says, because I was too cowardly. It would have meant admitting that I'd betrayed his trust while I was at school, admitting that I'd led others along with me, and Dumbledore's trust has meant everything to me. And that he convinced himself that Sirius was getting into the school using dark arts learned from Voldemort. And I just like that. I mean, as far as... I think there's a lot of good that can be learned in these chapters, like character-wise. Like the danger of secrets and things like that. Where it's like, it's not even just that he betrayed his trust back then, but like that now makes him... Like, that's something that has a hold of him still now.
And yes, Remus, you did something wrong, but continuing to do wrong is not the answer. You know? But he is a very sympathetic character in this moment. The thing I wanted to mention before we get to Transfigurations is, I don't think we ever talked about them dancing around the subjects.
I think this is a good...
Yeah, I wanted to call back to that. So was there a specific thought you wanted to share on that? Because you said now you like it.
Well, so obviously...
Again, this is in reference to
both chapters.
To both chapters, and it's the fact that Remus and Sirius, when talking about their innocence, are very, like... ambiguous.
They're certainly leaving lots of room for them to still be believed to be guilty. And yeah, I'll say my initial thought was like, first, so I read these books, if you remember my first episode, I first read these books as, you know, a college student, and I had no idea what the story was. And so it was very captivating, these two chapters, where it's like there's this mystery and it keeps it going. And it's like, what in the world is going on? How, like, what does any of this mean? And you can definitely tell that a lot of that is written for that end. You know?
Very children's storybook type of writing.
Yes. Where, you know, Sirius's initial reaction could have been different, and it would have just like, oh, here's the answer. And so then later it kind of rubbed me the wrong way that it's like there's no reason for him to just say, oh yeah, I'm guilty, when he's not. But I don't know, spending more time reading this, I have become more sympathetic, and I think that it's worth it for the way that this is written and the way that that is evolved. And I can kind of justify it because you really have to think about where Sirius is. And I kind of alluded to this earlier, where there's like a point when he kind of has a transition, and it's early on, but
it's after that.
It's after that. Yeah. He has been literally mentally tortured for 12 years.
In Azkaban.
Because his friend betrayed him and killed his other best friend. And it's like he has been holding on to tortured in a place where he's constantly bombarded with negative thoughts and emotions. He's been stewing on both his innocence and how he's wrongly imprisoned and his feelings of guilt because he was the one who single-handedly said, hey, Potters, choose Peter as your secret keeper. And that is the choice that resulted in that. So he's had 12 years to stew for that. So for one, it makes sense that in that mental state, he's not going to be quick to justify himself. Like, this is something that he has spent years feeling horrible about. And also, at least at the start, he has the upper hand. He's the one with the wand.
He can afford to
dance
around
because he wants to do one thing. Because that's the other thing about it, is his first priority right now is not reconciling with Harry and explaining everything to him. He wants to commit the murder that he was imprisoned for. He wants to get revenge on Peter. That is the one-track mind thing that he's been laser focused on that let him escape Azkaban because he was so motivated to do this thing. And that's what he's about.
Yeah, I like your explanations or your reasons that, tortured mental state with just these two things on his mind, his guilt and his innocence in a way, and the fact that, especially he had the upper hand, and then one-track mind. I think those are all very good reasons to say, yeah, I guess it checks out. Because when you're older and you read it, you're like, this is kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
But I like those.
And then I will say, yeah, for Lupin's part, that's again, he comes in, he has all of the wands, he's in control of the situation. There's no reason you should think that Snape is under an invisibility cloak or that there's any sort of actual time limit.
That's a good point because this was quite literally his safe place. This was the place that nobody else could get to unless they were an animagi. You would in that situation expect that you've got all the control. You're the one with the wands. You are in a spot that people aren't just going to stumble into. So it makes sense that he would feel comfortable to tell the whole story and give the background and not be like... Because at least at this point, especially, once he's handed the wands over, it's obvious that they're going to hear them out. And at that point, it's like, yeah, milk the story for all it's worth. Tell the whole thing and make it a good story. And I think Remus, even if all three were to attack him, could take all three. Yeah. And so those are the things that kind of softened my hardened heart towards this. That makes me think that, okay, that's not something to be upset about. I think there's enough justification that you can eke out that it overall makes it worth it for the mystery and reveal aspect, because it would be really anticlimactic in a sense if the first thing after Harry's like, you killed my parents, Sirius is like, oh no, I didn't. It was Peter Pettigrew because I made him secret keeper, and it was secret. No one knew about that, and then I can give you all this backstory. And I liked how you opened with, I think it's worth it. Yeah, I think that this whole confusion is worth it, and I would agree. Well, fantastic. I don't have much else to contribute to that, but I think you did a great job. So thank you. Very good. So now, listeners, moving on to our Transfigurations differences that the movies made from the books. Yay! All right. Number one. Well, it should just be clearly stated. Most of this chapter is like a big old omission. We don't get a whole lot of the Marauder story included here. This is the kind of stuff that it is exciting for. So my wife we watched the movies together. She'd never read the book, so we're going through them together, alongside this podcast. She's not listening, but I am. And she'll listen to your episode. She'll listen to this episode, probably. But this is the kind of thing that's like, that's what you're missing out on. Yeah. When you just have the movies. Like, you get the broad story, but it's like, all the things that actually make everything make sense and have depth. I've commented before. I feel like more and more the movies are, what's the word? Supplementary, yeah. But anyway, so we don't get the Shrieking Shack origin story, or the Whomping Willow origin story, or the Animagi story. All of that is not included in the movie. And then the other one, it's the only like actual change, I feel, was that when Snape appears in the book, he's in the room and he takes the cloak off. But in the movie, he runs up the stairs. You can actually see him in the background running up the stairs, and then he hits him with the Expelliarmus.
Huh. So he doesn't have the invisibility cloak.
No, he just shows up. And it's also not explained. Late in the next chapter, they explain it, but it's not explained how he knew they were there.
Yeah. Yeah, he just
I knew
shows
you were
up.
letting your friend into the castle, and here's the proof.
What happened to the invisibility cloak in the movie?
They never took it out with them.
Oh,
So when they go to Hagrid's, they don't have the cloak at all.
Okay.
In fact...
Did he even take... He did take it to Hogsmeade. He had to.
Yes. I was trying to remember. I think that's the only time we see it in the movie is that trip to Hogsmeade. Anyway, moving on now, listeners, to our golden snitches, our lore, behind the scenes, tids and bits. So, first, our first golden snitch is the Wolfsbane potion. So Lupin mentions that Snape makes this for him. They didn't have this when I was a kid, is what Lupin says. The Wolfsbane potion was an innovative and complex potion that relieved but did not cure the symptoms of lycanthropy. The main ingredient was wolfsbane, also referred to as aconite or monk's hood. That's cool. The way one must imbibe it was very unique among potions, in that a goblet full of wolfsbane must have been taken each day for a week preceding the full moon. Missing one dose alone during such a night was enough to invalidate all those that preceded it.
Okay, that actually answers a question that I was actually just going to ask.
Because of what happens.
Yeah, because of what happens. And in the book, it just said if you take it the week leading up to it. And I was reading that as
one dose.
It just has to be taken within that time frame, and then it will work.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
Right. The potion was extremely difficult to make, as Slughorn believed that even Damocles Belby couldn't have invented it without immense effort on his part.
Wow, I'm going to use that. Even man, I'm not going to try to say the name because I would fail, but funny.
The ingredients were also very expensive, which made it difficult for some werewolves to brew it themselves, as they usually lived in poverty due to their difficulty in finding stable careers. The completed potion exuded a blue smoke, according to Lupin and Kyra Labosca. Who is that? Is that like a Hogwarts? Yeah, it's a Hogwarts mystery character. Okay. Oh, I can see her werewolf form. Ah! Kyra Labosca, everybody. But anyway, I got off the page. Did you want to see it?
No, I did.
Okay.
It's okay.
It had a disgusting taste that was very difficult to get used to, and adding sugar. Oh, I like when Lupin said this. Adding sugar to the remedy. It was impossible to add sugar, as the substance was rendered ineffective.
Oh.
The drinker had to take the goblet of the potion once. Okay, we already said that. Ingredients include wolfsbane, dragon blood, moonstone, syrup of hellebore, murtlap tentacle, alchemy egg, and a sophorus bean.
I prefer pinto.
Of course. It's funny. So lists pictures for all these, but then down here, I think it also includes mandrake leaf, but there's no picture for a mandrake leaf. Maybe they're invisible. There's a whole 13-step instructions. I would read it all, but we got a lot to say about Animagi. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into that. So, Animagi! This is our other Golden Snitch listeners. And Jonathan, sit back, because there's a lot.
Okay.
Listeners, I'm going to learn you a lesson. An animagus was a witch or wizard who could transform themselves into an animal and back again at will. It was a skill that could be learned, unlike the hereditary ability of a metamorph magus, who we yet to learn about. That's for a later thing. Information on animagi was taught to Hogwarts students during their third-year Transfiguration class. An animagus registry existed to keep track of those that had learned to transform in this way, and it does not list all 7 of the people who are on that, because I was like, who are they? Process. So this is what I wanted to read, because I found this entertaining. Any witch or wizard who wanted to become an animagus had to undergo a ritual-like process in order to achieve the ability. The process of becoming an animagus was long and difficult, and it had to be done in a very specific way. The first step for becoming an animagus was that the witch or wizard in question had to keep a single mandrake leaf in their mouth for an entire month, from full moon to full moon. If the leaf was removed or swallowed, the witch or wizard would have to start over again. So that thing got soaking there. It's got to stew. At the next visible full moon, if the night happened to be cloudy, one would have to start over. Jeez. So would you have to do 2?
So you
I feel like you have to new leaf then. You can't just stew for 2.
You could successfully keep that leaf in your mouth for a whole month, and then it's cloudy and it's all for naught.
All for naught.
Wow.
The wizard had to spit the saliva-filled leaf into a small crystal phial that received the moon's pure rays. To the moonstruck phial, the wizard... Is it vial or phial?
Vial?
Vial?
Is what I would say.
That's what I would say, too. I saw a PH, and I was like...
Well, yeah. I don't know how some pronunciation things work, but that's what's in my mind.
I'm going to say vial. The wizard or witch must then add one of their own hairs, a silver teaspoon of dew taken from a place that had not seen sunlight or been touched by human feet for a full 7 days, and the chrysalis of a death's head hawk moth. The resulting mixture then had to be put in a quiet, dark place and could not be disturbed in any way. The next thing that had to happen was for the wizard to wait for an electrical storm. All right? Well, she was just having fun making this up. She was just like, and then this and this.
Something's got to occupy 3 years of attempts.
That is a good point. That's probably why it is so intricate, to fill that gap. Whenever that might be, so the electrical storm. During this waiting period, the wizard would have to, at sunrise and sundown every day without fail, chant the incantation Amato, Animo, Animato, and Amagus, with the tip of their wand placed over their heart. If one kept repeating the incantation, there would come a time when a second heartbeat may have been sensed with the touch of the wand tip to the chest. This was perfectly normal and should have been ignored. It was important not to let it cause any disturbance to the process. So you start feeling a second heartbeat. Do you have 2 hearts? Oh, well, let's read and find out.
What in the world?
When at last there was a lightning storm, the wizard had to retrieve the vial, which, if everything was done right, should have been found to contain a blood-red potion. The wizard had to immediately move to a large and secure place, somewhere they could achieve the transformation safely and without alarming anyone. To complete the process, the wizard had to point their wand at their heart and recite the incantation one final time, and then drink the potion. Once the process was completed, the witch or wizard would be an animagus, and for the rest of their life would have the ability to change between their human and animal forms at will, with or without the use of a wand. However, if any part of this process was done incorrectly, it had the potential to backfire and cause the transformation to go horribly wrong, such as causing permanent half-human, half-animal mutations. Oh no, freaking Nina from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, goodness. Could you become a centaur? I wonder if they would accept you.
I don't think they would. I think they would. They're very proud creatures. Upon completion of the process, the animagus experienced a vision revealing their new animal form. According to Natsai Onai, who's from Hogwarts Legacy, the first time an animagus transformed into their animal form, it could be a bit unnerving. The first time she took her gazelle form, spoilers for Hogwarts Legacy, everybody, she felt a kind of searing pain and a strong double heartbeat. But it got easier the more an animagus did it. After a while, Natsai didn't feel pain anymore and found a sense of comfort in the double heartbeat. So I guess you do have 2 heartbeats.
Huh.
Fantastic. It was advisable. All right,
That doesn't make any sense to me, but that's okay.
It mentions an animagus could change into their animal form by visualizing said animal form and return to normal by imagining their human self. So you just think about it. The other thing to point out is that an animagus could only transform into one particular species of animal. So you couldn't, you don't get to pick. You're just given what you're given. So, otherwise, I don't think Peter would have chosen a rat. Two more things, and then we'll wrap this part up. No known animagi have transformed into magical creatures, like a dragon or a phoenix, just regular human, non-magical animals. And the other thing was that animagus usually had identifying marks on themselves. So like Minerva with her
Glasses.
So there's another one. That was a long golden snitch section for that. But moving on now, that wraps up our coverage of these two chapters.
It does.
Wow, okay. And so, listeners, we're going to be hopping into our Azkaban section here, our restricted section.
Get ready for 12 years of torment.
That's right. If you are guilty of the crime of reading ahead or having seen the movies, you can stick around. All right, you deserve to be punished.
But you innocent little flowers.
But yeah, that's right. You get on out of here. You innocent ears are not meant to hear what we will divulge. So get on out of here. But thank you for listening. All right, we're so glad you stopped in this week. Happy to have you, and looking forward to next week where we'll have another special guest on and the new a first timer. All right, people.
I'm all washed up.
You are damaged goods. But Jonathan, you don't have anything you want to plug?
No.
But yeah, it's so weird. Normally I'm like, say your thing, but you don't.
Yeah, I'm just a guy.
And you're just a guy. I'm just a boy. All right. Goodbye, all those other listeners. Now, here we are. Restricted section. Okay. What were you going to say about Sirius?
Oh, it was Peter. I was just saying that he kind of has like a reverse markings because they mentioned that when he turns into a human, it's like, well, he looks remarkably rat-like. So, I don't know.
Or I thought you were going to bring up, he also still doesn't have that toe. Doesn't have that. A finger. That's all that was missing. A finger. Now, this time around, I did not include, I didn't write down my restricted section thoughts, but I did write RS throughout in case I wanted to say. So let's take this journey together, see what else we can mention here. So this line, when Sirius says to Harry, "I thought you'd come and help your friend," he said hoarsely. His voice sounded as though he had long since lost the habit of using it. "Your father would have done the same for me. Brave of you not to run for a teacher. I'm grateful. It will make everything much easier." When you're reading that the first time, it comes across as menacing. But once you have all the information, it's actually a compliment. It's not a good thing you didn't get them. You're so brave. It's you are brave. And I guess this works out, but so it is, he's admiring Harry actually in this moment. And I thought that was interesting. The other one, so when Lupin first shows up and he's like, he doesn't want Sirius Black to kill Peter Pettigrew or the rat. Black snarls, "We can explain afterwards." And it's like, maybe you should have. What is your take on that?
That is a good question. I don't know. I kind of go back to the unexpectedness of Snape's appearance, where there's no time constraint in their heads for any of this happening.
Yeah.
So I think there's a place where Lupin is in the right, where these kids do deserve an explanation. And maybe they deserve the answer and then the details. But
because in this case, you play it out Sirius's way. Ron watches somebody murder his pet. And even though you could tell him afterwards that it wasn't actually a rat, he will still have like those traumatic feelings from that lived moment that can't be erased. They can be like tended to with the truth later on, but that actual,
probably more damaging.
But he'll good point. But he will still have that lived experience where he genuinely thought that's what was going on, and that's terrifying for a child to experience.
I definitely think. How is it that Peter is revealed? Do they have some sort of spell that makes him become a human again?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like that could have happened right away. Because that's like, that's just like, we don't need to argue about whether this rat is Peter Pettigrew. It's like, bibbity boppity, he's Peter Pettigrew. Like, this is undeniable. He just turned into a man, and then that makes all the explanation easier.
Yeah, I guess it's because it's still... The only argument against that is it's still incredibly shocking for all three of them.
Yes.
Who have known this to be... Two of them known it to be Rat for 3 years, and one of them for 12.
Yeah, and if he's still in Ron's pocket...
that would
cause some problems for Ron's pants.
You know, what's funny is I pictured shirt pocket for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah, frocket.
The frocket?
But it doesn't say that, I guess.
No.
Maybe it does. I think it does. I think this is a shirt pocket.
I
don't know. Who's
maybe.
to say? But, yeah, so in this case, the route that they do go, the plan is let's prepare them a little bit for what they're about to see.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So I guess I can
lay the groundwork.
And
So
at least they're like, it's like they're somewhat they could be expecting it, I guess.
Yeah.
Potential for it.
And to Lupin's credit, there are a couple times where he doesn't take every tangent of explanation that he could. And moves the story along. Like where Harry's like, well, what is my dad's? And he's like, no, get on with it.
Or like we mentioned before with Ron calling him a werewolf and not really like saying, I'm not an evil guy. But that's really all I had for the restricted section.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of tread a little bit on the next chapter throughout in our discussion. Something that I think is really cool about this chapter, just before we sign off, is, as I was saying, like the moral lessons that can be learned in this. You know, when I was looking for favorite lines, I really don't like a lot of Harry's thought process because it's like, it doesn't sit well with you in this because he's in such a revenge-seeking, hate-filled place. And, like, finally Lupin comes and he's like, I failed. Like, my nerve failed me. I'm not going to be able to kill him. And it's like...
That's actually a good thing, Harry.
Yeah.
You know, I like that you bring that up because it's... You know, I am a huge fan of Harry. Say it a lot. He's my favorite character, and I like to highlight the moments where he's good. So I should also highlight the moments where not so good. But I think you see both of that in this chapter. He's wanting to be bad, but he doesn't have it in himself to actually do the thing.
Yeah. And in that moment, he's seeing that as like weakness within him, but it's really great strength. And I think that it's a big, like this chapter is a big warning point for not letting emotions take over, especially these negative emotions like hatred and revenge, where if Harry had the nerve to kill Sirius before all of this was explained, how much would have been lost?
Yeah, which I do think, like, you know, drawing out the moral lessons of it, one thing that signifies to me is, you know, just being careful in judgment of not knowing everything going on. I've referenced it so many times now this season on the pod, but in Mere Christianity, when C.S. Lewis is talking about people's actions and judging them, you know, he mentions that, you know, for like we all have like certain predispositions that we're born with, or a culture or group that we grow up with, and so for one person to not do the bad thing might take a great deal more restraint than another person, and then he throws in a bunch of these other things of that might make decisions by certain people as more weighty. I often phrase it like my twin sister is a bit more like not humorous, but somewhat like, I don't like the word vulgar either, but like she tends to insult me more freely than my older sister. And so for my twin sister to give me a really good like tongue lashing, like a good insult, just throwing it out, wouldn't mean that much, because it's like, oh, that's just how she talks to me. But if my older sister were,
She roasts you.
it's a pretty big deal. Same type of, I forgot how this related to what we were talking about, but the idea of like your actions or being careful in judgment, I guess.
Yeah.
And so because you don't know that's what it was. The connection is you don't know the whole situation and the weight of it almost ever, because you're not omnipotent. So.
Yeah. And Harry could have made a huge mistake if he didn't. I mean, in some ways, I would almost prefer it, like just within myself, if in those moments Harry was like, no, I realized that this was the wrong thing to do.
Mm-hmm. But instead, he views it as weakness. Well, that's why we got to have the conversation with Dumbledore at the end of the year, where Dumbledore clarifies that for him.
I guess we'll
at least
stay
it
tuned
is
for that.
Yeah, at least it is expressed in the book.
Yeah, and I was saying that, like, I within myself would want that to be the way that it's written, but I think it's better this way, to have that picture of where those things lead. Mm-hmm. If Harry had the strength to take revenge on someone who's trying to explain himself and doesn't hear him out, and doesn't show mercy, at least to that extent, where that would lead. And I mean, it's an interesting,
makes him like Voldemort.
Yeah, it is the Voldemort, the Voldemort side, and
or more like Barty Crouch. Sending Sirius to Azkaban without a trial.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And it's interesting to think about, like, that was before Lupin would have figured everything out. I mean, he would have at least seen Peter was still in the room as far as Marauder's map. Why did Lupin leave the map on his desk?
Because he's a silly goose who's like, you know what? It's time we give Snape the plot device.
Why would they have not had the Shrieking Shack on the Marauders map?
It's probably too far away, I imagine.
But don't they
it's in Hogsmeade.
But they know that the Marauders map clearly shows that the one-eyed witch passage ends in Honeydukes.
I don't think it shows that it ends in Honeydukes. I think it, they just knew that it did. They've been able to access it, and it leads that way.
That's perhaps the case. Okay.
But it is odd that Hogsmeade isn't included on the Marauders map because of the specific line in this chapter.
Yeah.
Where they say, we found out more about Hogwarts and Hogsmeade than probably any other student before, and that led to the creation of the Marauders map. Yeah. But the Marauders map is only Hogwarts. So that's odd. Anyway, listeners, that wraps up our coverage of chapters 17 and 18. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you have a wonderful week. Looking forward to having you back next week. Jonathan, thank you for being a part of this discussion.
You're welcome.
Yes, your incredible, wonderful thoughts, your explanations, way better put than I would have put them. I've noticed a lot, too. Some of I've disliked when I go in my favorite lines, and I just like it.
And I just like it. It's just, sometimes...
It's just neat.
It's just good.
But anyway, yes, enjoyed having you on. And, all right, goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye, listeners.
Click. Thank you for listening to Retold. Artwork for this podcast was created by Rachel Ortlip. Music was created by Taylor Jarvis. And the Retold podcast is produced by me. That's right. I made this.